So thank you guys all for coming. I really appreciate you guys coming out and your exuberance about being here. It makes me happy. I think it's an important topic. We as moms tend to put ourselves last, and we are always taking care of everybody else. And it doesn't matter where you are in your mom journey, you know, whether you have young children, whether you have older children, we're always going. We're always trying to take care of everybody else in our lives, no matter what age they are, you know, and I don't think it has anything to do with young or old kids. It doesn't matter. I'm a mom of 2 young boys. I have Ben, who just turned 8 yesterday. Yeah, he just turned 8 yesterday. And Eli, who will be 3 on Tuesday. So they're 5 years and 5 days apart. So I was very fertile in whatever month that is. And Ben, I always kind of knew that there was something different about Ben. He's very bright. He's very, he wasn't always very verbal, but he's very verbal now. But we always knew that there were some issues with him behaviorally. So I pushed and pushed and pushed. Originally, he was diagnosed with ADHD, which didn't make any sense to me, or at least it wasn't the only thing. Like, I knew there was something else going on. And he had a lot of, I'm a teacher, by the way, so he had a lot of the typical, like, not being able to look at you in the eye, you know, like, very hyper-focused on things. So I finally pushed and pushed. We got a different diagnosis. So he's on the spectrum. Very high functioning, but he's on the spectrum. A lot of social emotional problems, like, you know, interrelationship issues, difficulty reading cues, visual, social cues, and that kind of thing, which makes things challenging. You know, there's a lot of meltdowns, there's a lot of temper tantrums, and, you know, there's lots of meetings at school and all of that. And he's in a special class in school for behavioral disabled students. He's in 2nd grade. And it's so funny, and I will tell you this because one of the things I love about Mommy's Time Out is that we get very real in this group. And I will tell you, when I was pregnant with Ben, I told my husband, as a teacher, and as somebody, I'm not a special needs teacher, I'm a music teacher, but as a teacher, having worked with special needs children and all that stuff, I told my husband, and I think I like jinxed myself, I told him, I don't know what I would do if we have a child with autism. And I jinxed myself because then I had a child with autism. So it's really interesting how, like, I really truly believe, like, in karma and all of that stuff. And I think I've learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot about how to obviously deal with him, but also deal with life. And there are certain things about him that are really challenging. There are certain things that I've learned from him that he does better, I think, than we do. We're all moms here. We all know what it's like to be busy. I'm also an entrepreneur, so I have a marketing business that I started, and I also just recently started a coaching business. I don't like to say coaching, but it's like the easiest thing to say because most people understand what that means. Mentoring. I mentor people who are looking either in a process of losing weight or have lost weight and want to keep the weight off. I don't sell any products. I'm against that, but I don't personally sell any like weight loss products. I just mentor people who are working on the process of weight loss. If I'm going to do this, I need your support, and I need this to be a long-term solution for all of us, you know, not just for me, you know, because my husband, I don't know if you guys experience this, my husband is an enabler. He wants me to be happy, and if he thinks that me getting a cookie is going to make me happy, he'll go get me a cookie. And he will still do that. He doesn't have the best mindset around food either. And he's very stuck in his ways as well. So I think the conversation that we had is really important because I said, look, we have to have some kind of agreement within us and within our family that we are going to, as a group, as a family, we're going to do better. It doesn't have to be all the time. It can be like an 80% type of thing, but in general, we have to do better. We have to do better for us, for our long-term health, and we have to do better for our kids because they're learning from us, and they're learning, you know, that at 8 o'clock when mommy wants a cookie, daddy goes out to, you know, the store and gets a cookie, and that's not a healthy way. Like, it's not a healthy way to think. What worked for me, and I don't sell people on this because it doesn't work for everybody, what worked for me was being on a ketogenic diet plan. So I'm giving you all of that background to tell you that no matter what diet you do, no matter what lifestyle you follow, it's not gonna work unless you change your mindset. I'll say this, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this. When I would cheat on my diet, because I've been on every diet under the sun, when I would cheat on my diet, I would go, oh fuck, I cheated. Oh well, my entire week is ruined. I might as well cheat more, right? And I would punish myself with food. So, you know, I would spend the day and I would have my salad for lunch and be, yeah, I was really good at myself, but I really want that cookie for dessert. So I'd have that cookie for dessert, and instead of going, okay, I had a cookie, oh well, moving on, I go, well, I had that cookie for dessert. Now my whole week is ruined, so now tonight I'm gonna have another cookie. That's the skewed mindset that I've encountered with a lot of people that I've worked with and with myself, that we punish ourselves with food. And I always kind of attribute it to people who do other like self-punishing behaviors. Like,
can I just say that? I was just gonna point out that you were talking about the food, the naturally skinny person who doesn't punish themselves with the food, but they have something else that they punish themselves with.
Yeah, right, sure. Exactly. Some people punish themselves with exercise, right? I wish I was that type of person, right? Like they'll work out and they'll work out like 20 times a week, which is maybe not even healthy if you do that. Or, you know, they'll drink water, but they'll over drink water, like to the point that they make themselves sick. Or maybe they'll punish themselves with alcohol instead of food, or drugs, or something else. I think many of us self-medicate with food, right? And we'll push ourselves to the point where we're eating beyond that feeling of fullness, where we'll have that cookie because I deserve that goddamn cookie. I deserve it. Was I hungry? No. But I deserve it. I had a rough day. I deserve that chocolate bar, right? So that's literally self-medicating yourself with food. You're making yourself feel better, but then you feel guilty about it afterwards, and then like, what was the point? You know, it didn't really help in the long run.
That's how I feel about my evening drinks. I get in the habits of having my evening cocktail.
Right.
Or cocktail.
And that's when you had posted about that in the group. I totally related to it, and that's why it was so interesting, because you were posting like, oh, I have to cut back on the evening, but it's the same. Like for me, it's like a dessert.
I'm a recovering food addict. I had bulimia for a very many years, and that entails overeating and anorexia and whatnot. And I recovered from that, but I have an addictive personality, period. So now, like, to me, like, I'm pretty good, but I still have that addictive personality. And like you just said,
I was going to say, like, does that go away? Like, that doesn't go away, like, even though you're technically recovered and you're not doing it on a daily basis, but do you struggle with falling into your patterns?
I think I struggle when it comes to food and weight still a little bit, but it's all in your mindset. So if I believe in myself as a person and in my soul and my being, and not necessarily focus so much on the outer part and what other people think of me, yes, I'm in a much better space. Right. But yet I still have that addictive personality. Right. So again, you talk about, you know, like, I'm the same way. So sometimes I'm like, I'll go home and I'll like have one drink, or I'll have like on the weekends I might have two. It depends on what my schedule is and what I'm doing with my kids the next day or whatever. But I have that same mentality. I'm like, I worked all freaking day. I'm still like all over the place all day long with everything that I'm doing, that I'm like, no, you know what, tonight, like, I'm not gonna have that drink tonight, right? Because overall, with alcohol, like, it's not the best thing for you. And if you can have one drink, it doesn't necessarily make you feel so great. So I know that the next morning I may not be as functional to be able to get up and go to the gym. So I do the same thing, but I'm like, but by the time I get home, I'm like, damn it, this is like been a rough day. I'm like, I deserve that drink.
For me, it's food, and I've used alcohol as well. I think all of us have done that, right? Like, when I've used alcohol, like, the point is that you're using something to self-medicate, to make yourself feel better, but it's a short term. It's finding something else that's going to be maybe, or in moderation. I want us to be able to change the language that we use, right? So when I think of, you know, having that glass of wine at night, or having that, like, Tito's and whatever.
Not ham and cheese, what parking?
We're indulging, we're not cheating, okay? Because when you use the word cheat, it's a very negative term. And just that negativity and that negative term in your head goes, okay, it puts you in that negative space and that negative mindset. If I say I'm going to indulge in that chocolate chip cookie that I really wanted, not the little one, but the big ones, you know, the big, like, yummy, warm chocolate chip gooey ones that you open up and it's like, oh yeah,
fresh out of the oven.
Get one of those here.
I'm gonna indulge. They do gluten free here. I'm going to indulge, and I'm going to set my mindset that I'm not going to beat myself up over it because it was an indulgence, it wasn't a cheat. And I indulged and I enjoyed it, and then I move on.
It's not that I can't have it, I choose not to have it.
Right. And that's the thing with keto, because you do something very similar to keto, right? So that's the thing with keto. When you're strict with keto, if you choose to indulge in something that's sweet with sugar, it can kick you out of ketosis. So when I was really following it hardcore, I made the choice not to most of the time because I didn't want to kick myself out of ketosis because then it's hard to get yourself back into
Marni,
it.
what's ketosis? Just explain that.
So ketosis is the process that your body goes through when you eliminate the majority of carbohydrates that you're intaking in your body. So, like this salad, for example, right? The majority of this salad is protein, it's got a little bit of fat in it, but it does have some sugar because it's got the pears, it's got the cranberries. So those items are carbohydrates, right? So carbohydrates are an energy source, but everything else is an energy source as well. So our body breaks down certain types of energy sources differently. When you eliminate for about 3 to 4 days, when you eliminate the carbohydrates, or the majority of carbohydrates that you're taking in, your body transfers the kind of energy source that it burns. So instead of burning the carbohydrates, which it's no longer getting, it starts to burn fat. And then your body goes into ketosis. So your body is then burning fat for fuel as opposed to burning carbohydrates for fuel. Your body doesn't make carbohydrates, okay? So eventually, the more carbohydrates that you're taking in, they get stored as fat. It's not for everybody though, because I have friends and I've had clients that I work with also that keto doesn't work for them. They need like high, whole grains. Paleo is better for them. They do the whole grains. They do like fruit. Feeding those carbohydrates is that immediate boost of, oh God, I feel better, right? You feel that like comfort, but it's a physical comfort.
Yeah, and can I just point out too, like what Marni does and what I love is that the name of her business is Inner Transformation. So it's all about changing the inner self and the mindset to accomplish whatever goal it is as far as being helpful. And it's like we talk so much about weight. I just want to point out that it doesn't matter if you're overweight, if you are underweight, if you look like you appear to other people as perfect. Every single person, there's so many women, I posted on the page about this, their mindset about their weight and their image, no matter what, it ruins their days. Like ruins their days. So what she talks about as far as like balance, like how when you were going through that and having your kids and they were very small and having a special needs child, like how were you able to balance all of that, especially with totally completely having to change your lifestyle? Because I've done that. It's hard. I mean, it's very, very hard.
So that's a really great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So my older son is very picky about food. He's got sensitivity issues. That's part of his stuff. Yep, and that's and there is some sensory stuff going on. And then I have a 2-year-old, which is 2. So which is the same. Yeah, exactly. So when I talked to my husband about this and we decided, okay, we're going to start meal prepping, and I'm going to talk about that in a second too. We're going to start meal prepping. We're going to just we're going to be better about not eating out so much, and just even if they're not eating keto, at least the food that I'm cooking at home is keto. Keto, it's not anything special. It's just you're eliminating the carbs in what you're making. You're not making rice with your food.
So you're having grilled chicken and salad for dinner, minus some of the things you mentioned?
Yeah, but that's boring. No.
I know, not the same thing.
But yes, like I would make lasagna. I just make it instead of with noodles. I'd make it with like zucchini, instead. I still put carbs in my food. Like I still eat berries. Like when I'm following keto strictly, I still eat berries because berries are very low on the glycemic index. You can eat berries. And my family still eats carbs. I'm not forcing them. So to your point, I'm not forcing them to eat the way I eat. But the fact that we are following a better lifestyle, that we're not eating out as much, and then this is what I make. So this is the food that I'm making, and either they can eat it or not. They're just going to eat what's in front of them, or they don't. And they're not going to waste away. Oh, well, you didn't want the broccoli. You don't have to eat the broccoli. Oh, well, but they're hungry, so they're going to eat the broccoli.
So you're really, really busy. Like, how did you manage? I mean, you lost a lot of weight. How did you manage just the day-to-day with, because I think the biggest problem, whether you stay-at-home mom or working mom, is the whole meal prep thing.
So meal prepping was something that I never did in my entire life, and everybody always told me, "Oh, meal prepping, that's the best way to do it." I'm not. It's
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It can feel really overwhelming when you look at it from the outside. And you're like, meal prepping. Oh my god! I have to make all this food, and I have to go food shopping. Like, who here goes food shopping more than once a week? Right? Right, because you're making those
Depending on the
decisions.
week, depending on what I'm making, or I'll wait if now we've had our party and I'm requested to make the spinach dip or lasagna, in such case, then I'm going again. And only for that stuff.
Right. Or, like, who orders in more than once a week? When I decided to really go full force with the meal prepping, it really did feel overwhelming. What helped me was I found somebody who made meal plans, because at the time, I didn't even want to think about it. I just wanted somebody to do it for me. I could cook, as long as they were, like, simple, easy things to do. But I wanted somebody to lay it out for me. Okay, Monday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, this is what you're going to have. I just wanted somebody to, like, lay it out for me. Especially, like, with keto, it's not hard. You just need somebody to kind of explain it to you, right? So having that as a guide, like, the first couple of months was really helpful to me. And then what I would do, this worked for us, and you have to find what works for you. And when I work with my clients, we develop a plan for you. But for us, what worked is Sundays. Sunday morning is our regular day that we go food shopping. But we have a plan. Now I don't buy meal plans, I make them myself, but we have a plan. We go food shopping, we have a list, and here's the other pushback that I got from my husband. Because he was so used to not, doing big food shopping, he would get mad because we'd be spending a lot of money at the grocery store. The problem is, we were spending more than that going to restaurants and doing like the little piecemeal food shopping. So I said, you have to actually sit and like add it up. And then he started realizing, wow, we are saving money. If you're batch cooking, you're gonna have leftovers, right? And I eat less. But so the other thing with keto is that when you're eating a higher amount of fat, you feel fuller faster. And that has nothing to do with me having weight loss surgery, because my husband is the same way. He barely eats dinner now.
That sounds like the science of it.
It is the science of it. Because fat is filling, carbohydrates are not. Carbohydrates make you crave. That's why keto and paleo work, because you're cutting down on the carbs and you're filling up more with healthy fats, or the Mediterranean diet. Again, I'm not pushing one type of diet. There's many ways to do this.
These carbs aren't making you full.
Think about it. Think about it. When you eat a sandwich, oh no, the perfect example of this is Chinese food. It's like always the joke, right? You eat Chinese food, and then an hour later you're hungry. It's always been the joke about Chinese food, because Chinese food is full, not even of sodium, it's just full of carbs. It's all the pasta, rice. So think about it. If you have like a really rich casserole, right? Or I don't know, think about something really rich that you've eaten. Usually you don't want as much of it because it's really rich, right? Because the fat is what makes you go, this is delicious, but I can't eat anymore. Sandwich, I know for myself, even with the surgery, I can eat a whole sandwich, or I can eat a whole cookie, like
or a whole bag
big
of chips,
cookies, or a whole bag of chips. You can just eat, I can eat 2 cups of popcorn, no problem, right? Carbohydrates, they get processed very quickly in your system. Your body can process carbohydrates very fast, which is why, it's like energy, but it's fast energy. It doesn't stay with you. Protein and fat will stay with you, and it makes you fuller longer. So do an experiment for yourself.
Oh, and fast energy, is that why we tend to crash after a big pasta dinner? Because it's we're getting energy, but it's burning fast, and then we crash.
And it's burning away, right? So think of a furnace. If you put newspaper in a furnace, it burns really quickly and then it burns out. If you put like hardwood in a furnace, it's going to burn longer and lower at a lower temperature. So think of that. So your body is like a furnace. So if you're giving it fat, and you're using fat as fuel, it's going to burn at like hot, low temperature, but longer. If you're feeding it newspaper like chips and pretzels and that kind of thing, it's going to burn up really fast, and then like you said, you're going to crash. So do an experiment for yourself, just for like a day. Eliminate, I'm not saying for like a long term, just do it for a day. Eliminate all the carbs from your diet, just
So
for
all
one day.
carbs, you're even eliminating good carbs, like you know how
Don't
there's
worry
like the
about
grains.
good, bad. Good, bad. Carbs is a
Good,
carb.
bad. Okay,
Carbs
so
is a-
eliminate
just for a day.
for one day.
Just try it.
When you eat protein, your body has to work harder to burn it, so you actually have more energy because your body is working, which gives you more energy, and protein stays with you longer, so you aren't also, like so many people will be like, you eat steak? And I'm like, yeah, give me a big steak.
So the more protein you eat, you're getting energy also from your protein. So eat more protein to give you more energy and to make it last longer, because apparently it burns slower than carbs.
Right. It's very scientific. And think of the newspaper thing. I think that's like a great way to think of
Yeah.
it, because if you throw a newspaper on a fire, it goes, right? And that's what's happening in your body. So the newspaper are like the simple, even complex carbs. Carbs are carbs are carbs. I say whatever works for you. If you want to do Jenny Craig, if you want to do Weight Watchers, go for it. I'm not here to counsel you on what diet works best. If you want to do keto, I'll help you with it. I'm here to counsel you on the emotional side of it. So stepping back again, and I'm happy to answer any keto questions, but stepping back from the keto discussion for a second, what I want to talk about before we end, because I've been talking for a while, what I want to talk about is the emotional side and what we do that is self-sabotage, and what we do that puts us in the way of our success, of our health success. So what Renee was asking before is, I work with clients who aren't necessarily looking to lose a lot of weight, or maybe they've lost weight already and they just want to sustain and keep it off. But what is causing them to maybe go back to some of the negative habits and the negative things that they used to do? So is it, that self-sabotage, that like, I don't want to see myself be successful? Or maybe I do carry extra weight on my body because it's a separation between me and some of the outside issues that are bothering me. Because a lot of us carry extra weight because it's a cushion. It's literally, not just physically, but it's literally a cushion. It separates you from your problems. It kind of like pushes everybody else away. Losing 120 pounds for me caused some relationship issues in my marriage, because this is where we get real and raw, right? So as I lost the weight, my husband always knew me heavy, right? Even though I had weight loss surgery, I was still heavy, right? So as I lost the weight, I was waiting for him to say, oh my God, look how hot you look now. I can't believe it. That never happened. I never got that from him. I never got the feedback. I never got him checking me out, Like, I was always hoping for that. I was hoping for him to go, wow, honey, you look amazing. And that never happened until I actually had to say to him, why aren't you telling me this? It made me really resentful of him, and it caused some problems in our marriage that we had to work through, like significant problems in our marriage that we had to work through.
Do you know what's very interesting about that is that I wonder too, I can ask you this, did it cause more problems in your marriage from your point of view because of how you wanted him to validate and how him to make you feel better? Like,
I started to act out.
right. And isn't that interesting? Because as far as the weight loss, like the whole mindset part of it, like it shouldn't be for anybody else. It should be for you.
So in my relationship, no, I'm taking ownership of the fact that it wasn't him, it was me. I acted out, okay? And I'm really honest, and I was very honest with him about it too. I acted out. And this is something that I've never done in any relationship ever. But I was feeling neglected. And I was feeling like, and I love my husband. I really do. He's always been like the most supportive person in my life, except for this. Did you feel neglected before when you were overweight? No, because I felt accepted. I felt accepted for who I was, but I wanted more. I wanted him to not just accept me, I wanted him to be like, oh, babe, like, wow, you look so sexy now. Look at how great you look. Look at all the weight you've lost. So I wanted him to go, yeah, but you look really great. You look so hot, and I can't believe, and you're so successful, and I'm so proud of you. And that didn't happen right away.
Sometimes all we need is that one compliment, and that one compliment can go a long way.
That's why I had to say that. It's not the discrimination when it comes to weight is not just discriminatory against anyone who appears overweight. It happens to everybody.
So what
And
was
underweight people go eat a hamburger or something.
No, it's just people were asking like, oh, is she having, marriage problems? Is that why she's losing weight from stress? And I'm like, no, I'm taking control of my life.
Right.
And so, but I dealt with the rumor.
Marni, can I ask you? So all this time that on your journey, how do you maintain? How do you maintain with 2 small children, a special needs child, your husband, like just being busy? You're wearing so many hats. You're all.
So I'm realistic. I try to be realistic. So like I said, I told you, like over the holidays, I have indulged and I have been eating more carbs, but I'm also honest with myself. Food, right? Like, oh, it's just a little bite. It didn't count, right? Like that didn't count.
It so adds up.
But it so adds up. That's what we do as moms. Like, raise your hand if you eat your kids' food.
You know what I did last night? I didn't eat I didn't really eat dinner. I got home late. And you know what I did in my fridge? I literally was like, oh, that looks good, unhealthy. But I was like, oh, I'll just have one bite. And then I saw something else in there. I'm like, oh, that's a sandwich he had. I'm like, I had one bite of that. And then I did something else that wasn't good for me. And I had a bite of that. And it just all adds up. And I went to bed and I'm like, oh, I'm going to feel like crap tomorrow.
It's a tool.
It's a
all
tool,
mindset.
but you do all the work.
Right, you have to do all the work, and that's why I feel like I can still talk about this stuff, because, and some people think, well, weight loss surgery is doing all the work, but it's not.
No, I have to change your mindset.
I have to do the work. I have made those conscious choices to have that muffin and to eat my kids' food lately and to, indulge more than I probably should be indulging. And now I'm scaling back. We're both going to kind of reset a little bit and go back. But we're not going to go on a diet.
Natural.
You'll go back to your
exactly. But again, I'm not beating myself up over it.
You can always start over.
And the main thing, the main answer to your question is I'm honest with myself and I'm honest with others about the process.